Foxy, here's your scale work video, okay? The key to this is doing everything at the 5th fret, because this gives you your 5 big keys, which are A, D, G, C, and E. More importantly, it just keeps your brain focused on one part of the fretboard, and so that you can see how the patterns are basically the same whichever string you start on, with an occasional variation, but the variations are always slight, and you can see them if you just look at the graph and notice the difference between one or the other. Generally, we're compensating for the B string, which shifts things up half a step, 1 fret. Sometimes the E and the B, high E and the high B, shift up half a step. Static, active, and zones. Okay, static, here's major, T6. Okay, T5 is the same pattern. This is a D major scale. Okay, T4 is the first change. The highest string has shifted up 1 fret. Other than that, it's the same. So it starts the same. The first pattern is identical, and then half a step up shift. That's for a G major scale. Okay. Now we're on T3, which is different. I want you to start on the first finger. Both of the high notes of the pattern have shifted up a fret. This is the old familiar pentatonic scale. Now, staying at the 5th fret, you get to E5. And you're back to your second finger. These are unusual because the last note is lower than the root. But they start just like T6, 5, and 4. With that feeling. They end like so. So you got to be able to roll through all those majors, memorize it effortlessly. First time you just look at the chart, first week or two. Then you memorize and do it effortlessly. Then you do it in the minors. So T6, T5, as you know, doesn't change. These are your static scales. T4, you got to shift up 1 fret when you get to the B string. Again, starts the same and then shift back. Okay, T3, you're going to start, they all start in the first finger in the minor. Both of the high notes have shifted up a fret. So it starts the same, and then you shift. Then you just play it like you normally do. Finally, once you get to T2, same as T2 in the major, the final, second to last note is below the root. But it starts just like most of the other minors. That 4-note group is identical in your hand. So I want you to be able to roll through those. Now we're going to move to the the active. Those were your static scales, the ones that don't move. The active slide, okay, major. That holds for T5. Same exact pattern. For T4, the B string shifts up half a step. But your second finger's right there, so it's not really a position shift. Again. T3 is the most unusual. You start the same way, but both of the high 2 strings have shifted up half a step. So what you want to do is slide on your second finger instead. Do it again. So I'm going to stretch out with 2 and slide a whole step up, and then my other fingers are in place to finish the scale. Okay. Now I'm at T2, which is also unusual because you have to go very far up the fretboard. You start the same as the others with a slide on 3, then you slide on 1, then you close it off with your pinky. We studied these once a while back. Come back down the same manner, sliding on 1 and then sliding on 3. You got to do the slides the same way every time, or else it's going to inhibit you from memorizing it. I'm going to go through in the minor, okay? You substitute your pinky for your third finger, and they basically fall into your hand. T6. T5 is identical. T4, the B string shifts up half a step. But it's right under your second finger still. One more time. So it's not really a shift. It's a different finger to end. Okay. T3 is a bit unusual. I want you to stretch out, slide on 3. That puts your other fingers in the right position. Again, slide on 3. Finally, T2, which does the whole thing in 2 strings. Slide on 4, then on 1, just like for the major. Sorry, again. Up on the pinky and then the first finger. Make sure you get that right. Down the same way. First finger and pinky. So those are your active scales. You should be able to roll through all the majors, then all the minors. Finally, the zones, which are the simplest because they hold for 4 tonics at a time. Major. Same on tonic 5. Same on T4. T3 just shifts up half a step when you get to the B string. One more time on that. T2 is back to the original. Now the minors. T6. T5. T4. T2, the B string, all 3 of those notes shift up half a step. Do that one more time. Shift. And then for T2, you're back to the original pattern. So those are just rolling through all major, then all minor, for the static, the active, and the zones. But once you get good at that, the next step, which is more ambitious, is to contrast the majors and the minors in any given tonic. Here's what I mean. Back to static scales. Go major, tonic 6, then minor. Tonic 5, same way. Major, minor. Tonic 4, major, minor. Tonic 3, major, minor. Tonic 2, major, and minor. The idea here now is when you're looking at the sheet, you're looking from left to right. So from the left column, which is major, right to the right column, which is minor, rather than looking at the sheet from top to bottom, which goes all major in one column or all minor in the other. And you can do the same thing with the actives, major, minor. T5, minor. T4, minor. T3, major. This one's a little more challenging, just give it time and pay attention to the chart. It's also very important. T2, minor. And the zones are the easiest to contrast this way. Major, minor. Major T5. Minor T5. T4. T3. T2. That's That's it, brother.